Destroy the old you and rebuild yourself. Please subscribe and share our channel. Show us love by doing that. We also want to grow. So our growth is for you to subscribe and share. Thank you for doing that. Now, grab your popcorn. Let's take you through this journey. Introduction: The Call to Transformation. There comes a moment in every life when something feels off. Not broken, not destroyed, just misaligned. You wake up and realize the person you are is not the person you were meant to become. You feel it in your routines, you see it in your results, you hear it in your excuses. A quiet voice whispers, "This is not your final form." This book begins at that moment. The uncomfortable truth. You cannot build a powerful future on a weak identity. Most people try to change their lives by tweaking the surface. New goals, new routines, new motivation, new inspiration, but they never change the one thing that controls everything: who they believe they are. Your current life is not random. It is the direct reflection of your current identity. If you procrastinate, it's because you see yourself as someone who struggles with discipline. If you stay small, it's because somewhere deep down you believe you are small. If you tolerate mediocrity, it's because your identity allows it. The results you have today are perfectly aligned with the person you are right now. And if you want new results, the old version of you must die. This is not a self-help book. This is not about positive thinking. This is not about temporary motivation. This is about psychological demolition. It is about confronting the identity you've outgrown, the beliefs that cage you, the patterns that quietly sabotage you, the comfort that keeps you small. It is about courage. The courage to admit that who you are today cannot take you where you want to go. The prison of familiarity. Your old self feels safe. It knows your limits. It knows your excuses. It knows your fears. It whispers, "Stay here. At least this is predictable." But safety is not growth. Comfort is a cage disguised as protection. The version of you that built your current life may have helped you survive, but survival is not the same as evolution, and evolution demands death. The fire of reinvention. Every transformation in nature follows a pattern. The caterpillar dissolves before becoming a butterfly. Forests burn before new ecosystems rise. Muscles tear before they grow stronger. Destruction is not the opposite of growth. It is the beginning of it. You cannot add greatness on top of mediocrity. You must remove what no longer serves you. This book will guide you through 5 stages: the awakening, seeing clearly who you have become; the demolition, destroying limiting beliefs and outdated identities; the foundation, defining who you choose to be; the construction, building habits, discipline, and emotional strength; the emergence, living aligned with your new identity and sustaining it. This is not theory. It is a structured transformation. The price of staying the same. If you do nothing, life will continue as it has. Your habits will repeat, your fears will persist, your excuses will strengthen. Years from now, you may look back and realize you felt the call to change and ignored it. That regret is heavier than any temporary discomfort of transformation. Change is painful, but staying the same is devastating. A warning before you continue. This process is not comfortable. You will question yourself. You will confront truths you have avoided. You may lose relationships, habits, and environments that no longer align. Transformation is not cosmetic. It is surgical. But on the other side of that surgery is freedom. On the other side is clarity, confidence, power, alignment, a version of you that does not beg for validation or permission, the version of you waiting to be born. There is a future version of you reading this from a higher level of life, stronger, more disciplined, more focused, more fulfilled. That version is not created by luck, it is created by decision. Right now, you stand between two identities, the one you've known, the one you are meant to become. Only one can survive. The decision. This book is not asking you to improve, it is asking you to decide. Will you protect your comfort, or will you protect your potential? To destroy the old you is not self-hate, it is self-respect. It is recognizing that you are capable of more and refusing to settle. The fire begins with a decision. If you are ready to confront yourself, if you are ready to dismantle what limits you, if you are ready to rebuild with intention and discipline, then turn the page. Your transformation does not start tomorrow, it starts now. Chapter 1. The Prison of Your Past Self. Part 1. The Awakening. Before you can destroy the old you must first see the cage. Most people are not trapped by circumstance, they are trapped by identity. Not the identity they consciously chose, but the one they slowly absorbed from experience, fear, failure, and repetition. You are not living inside your potential, you are living inside your past. The invisible cage. A prison is easy to escape when you can see the bars, but the most dangerous prison has no visible walls. It is built from old failures, childhood labels, repeated disappointments, social conditioning, internalized criticism, comfort disguised as safety. At some point, something happened. Maybe you failed publicly. Maybe someone told you that you weren't good enough. Maybe you tried and didn't get the result you wanted. And instead of saying, "that attempt failed," you said, "I am a failure." That was the moment the bars began forming. Identity, the real prison guard. Your identity is the story you repeat about yourself. I'm not disciplined, I'm bad with money, I'm not confident, I always quit, I'm not a leader. Every time you repeat these phrases, even jokingly, you reinforce the prison. Your brain does not argue with the story, it defends it. You don't sabotage success because you lack ability. You sabotage it because success threatens the identity you've grown comfortable with. Your current identity has one primary job: to remain consistent, even if that consistency keeps you small. The comfort of familiar pain. Here is a brutal truth. You may hate your current life, but you are comfortable in it. You know your struggles, you know your excuses, you know your limits. And as long as things stay familiar, you feel a strange sense of control. Transformation threatens that comfort, because stepping into a new identity requires uncertainty, and uncertainty feels like danger to a mind that values survival over expansion. So you stay in the prison, not because you can't leave, but because leaving requires becoming someone new. The cost of carrying your past. Your past self is not evil. It helped you survive. It protected you when you needed protection. It adapted to circumstances. It created coping mechanisms. But what protected you then may be limiting you now. Avoidance became procrastination. Caution became fear. Humility became smallness. Self-protection became emotional distance. You are no longer in the environment that required those defenses, yet you are still living by their rules. And every day you carry outdated beliefs into a new season, you sabotage your own growth. The myth of, "that's just who I am." No, that's who you practiced being. Identity is not fixed, it is reinforced. You are not naturally undisciplined. You practiced inconsistency. You are not naturally anxious. You practiced fear responses. You are not bad at relationships. You practiced avoidance or poor communication. The prison is not permanent, it is practiced, and anything practiced can be unlearned. The identity loop. Here is how the prison sustains itself. You believe something about yourself. You act in alignment with that belief. You get results that confirm it. The belief strengthens. Example, I'm not confident, so you avoid speaking up. People overlook you. You say, see, I knew I wasn't confident. The loop tightens. This is not fate, this is programming, and programming can be rewritten. The fear of outgrowing yourself. Sometimes the prison is not just internal. Your environment may reinforce your old identity. Friends who expect the same version of you, family who resist your growth, colleagues who are comfortable with your limitations. Growth disrupts systems. If you change, the dynamics change, and part of you fears losing belonging, so you shrink to stay accepted. But understand this, every time you shrink to protect relationships, you betray your potential, and over time, that betrayal becomes resentment. The first crack in the wall. Awakening begins with awareness, not blame, not shame, awareness. You must ask, what story have I been telling about myself? What identity have I unconsciously adopted? What patterns keep repeating? Where am I settling because it feels familiar? This chapter is not about destroying yourself yet. It is about seeing clearly. You cannot demolish a structure you refuse to acknowledge. Identity audit. The prison map. Write this down. The 3 most common negative beliefs I hold about myself are: the behaviors that repeatedly sabotage my progress are, the situations where I play small are, the excuses I use most often are. Now ask yourself, who would I be without these stories? Feel that discomfort. That discomfort is the door. The awakening moment. You are not broken, you are conditioned. You are not incapable, you are identified with an outdated version of yourself. The prison is not locked from the outside, it is locked from within, and the key is awareness. This chapter is your first crack in the wall. The next chapter will confront something even more uncomfortable, the cost of staying the same. Because once you see the prison, you can never pretend it isn't there. And that is where transformation truly begins. Chapter 2. The Cost of Staying the Same. Change is uncomfortable, but staying the same has a cost, and most people never calculate it. They calculate the pain of growth. They calculate the risk of failure. They calculate the embarrassment of trying, but they never calculate the price of stagnation. And stagnation is expensive. The illusion of safety. Staying the same feels safe. No new risks, no new criticism, no new exposure. You remain predictable to yourself and to others. But what feels like safety is often slow decay. Comfort is not neutral. It is either preparing you for expansion or quietly shrinking your future. Every day you choose not to evolve, you choose familiarity over possibility. The compounding effect of inaction. Time does not pause while you hesitate. Habits compound, skills compound, mindsets compound. If you improve daily, growth multiplies. If you remain the same, limitation multiplies. The cost of staying the same today may feel small, but 5 years from now? 10? Imagine repeating your current year exactly as it is 5 times. Same income, same discipline level, same fears, same excuses, same conversations, same results. Does that excite you or disturb you? That reaction tells you everything. The silent erosion of self-respect. When you know you are capable of more and choose less, something inside you weakens. Every avoided opportunity, every postponed goal, every excuse you repeat, it chips away at self-respect. And self-respect is the foundation of confidence. Confidence is not built from affirmations, it is built from kept promises. When you repeatedly break promises to yourself, you start trusting yourself less. And a person who does not trust themselves cannot build power. The cost of staying the same is not just external, it is internal erosion. The future you is watching. There is a future version of you, stronger, more disciplined, more evolved. And that version exists as potential, not destiny. Potential is not guaranteed, it is conditional. Every time you avoid growth, you drift further from that version. One day, you will either meet your future self with pride or with regret. Regret is heavy, heavier than effort, heavier than discipline, heavier than temporary discomfort. The cost of staying the same is future regret. The hidden cost in relationships. When you refuse to grow, you don't just affect yourself, you affect your family, your partner, your friends, your children, your colleagues. Your limitations ripple outward. If you stay small, you model smallness. If you avoid risk, you model fear. If you settle, you normalize mediocrity. Leadership is not about authority, it is about example, and staying the same is a powerful example, whether you intend it or not. The pain of unrealized potential. There is a specific kind of pain that only comes from knowing you could have done more. It's subtle. It doesn't scream. It lingers. You feel it in quiet moments, in late nights, in comparison, in unfulfilled ambition. It's the weight of unused capacity. You were not built to live on autopilot. You were not built to coast. You were not built to shrink. But every day you remain the same, you choose survival over expansion, and eventually that choice becomes identity. The myth of later. I'll change when things calm down. I'll start when I'm ready. I'll focus when I have more time. Later is a lie that keeps you comfortable. There will always be responsibilities. There will always be distractions. There will always be reasons. Transformation does not happen when life becomes easy. It happens when you decide discomfort is no longer negotiable. If you wait for perfect conditions, you will wait forever. The real risk. Most people fear the risk of change, but what if the real risk is staying the same? What if the bigger danger is never discovering your capability? What if the greater loss is living beneath your potential? What if comfort is costing you everything you want? Growth feels like risk because it introduces uncertainty, but stagnation guarantees one thing: predictable mediocrity. And that is far more dangerous. The awakening question. Ask yourself honestly, if nothing changes, what will my life look like in 5 years? Picture it clearly, the same habits, the same thinking, the same fears. Does that vision energize you or disturb you? If it disturbs you, good. Discomfort is the beginning of awakening. The turning point. You now see 2 things clearly. You are living inside an outdated identity. Staying the same carries a heavy compounding cost. Awareness creates tension, and tension demands resolution. You can either return to comfort and ignore what you've seen, or accept that growth is no longer optional. The next chapter will take you deeper, because once you recognize the cost of stagnation, you must confront the beliefs that keep you trapped. And those beliefs are not innocent. They are structural. It's time to break them. Chapter 3: Breaking Free from Limiting Beliefs. Part 1: The Awakening. You are not stuck because of your circumstances. You are stuck because of what you believe about your circumstances. Beliefs are invisible scripts running beneath your behavior. They shape your decisions, your confidence, your risks, your limits. And most of them were never consciously chosen. They were absorbed. From parents, from teachers, from culture, from failure, from pain, from repetition. And once installed, they operate silently like background code. If you want to destroy the old you must confront the code. What is a limiting belief? A limiting belief is not just a negative thought. It is a thought you've repeated so often that it feels like truth. I'm not smart enough. People like me don't succeed. I always mess things up. Money is hard to make. I'm too late. I don't have what it takes. At first, these were reactions. Now they are identity. And identity is powerful, because you will always act in alignment with who you believe you are. The origin of your beliefs. Most limiting beliefs were formed in moments of emotional intensity: a failure, a rejection, a humiliation, a comparison, a loss. Your brain, designed for survival, created a shortcut. This happened. It hurt. Let's avoid this in the future. So it formed a belief, not as truth, but as protection. The problem? What protected you at one stage of life may now be restricting you. The belief that once kept you safe now keeps you small. The belief-behavior loop. Here's how it works. You believe something about yourself. You behave in alignment with that belief. You get results that confirm it. The belief strengthens. Example: belief, I'm bad at business. Behavior, you hesitate, avoid risks, underprepare. Result, weak performance. Confirmation, see, I knew it. The belief wins. Not because it was true, but because it was obeyed. Beliefs are not facts. This is critical. A belief is not reality. It is an interpretation of reality. Two people can fail at the same task. One says, I'm not cut out for this. The other says, I need to improve my strategy. Same event, different belief, different future. The belief you choose after failure determines whether you shrink or expand, and most people choose unconsciously. The cost of unquestioned beliefs. Limiting beliefs cap your ambition, reduce your confidence, sabotage opportunities, distort your self-image, keep you in familiar territory. Worst of all, they disguise themselves as logic. You say, I'm just being realistic. But realism without growth becomes a cage. You call it being practical, but it's often fear wearing intelligence as a disguise. The courage to question yourself. Breaking free begins with interrogation, not self-criticism, investigation. Ask, who told me this about myself? Is this objectively true? What evidence contradicts this belief? What would happen if I stopped believing this? Many of your truths will crumble under scrutiny because they were built on emotion, not evidence. Rewriting the script. You do not eliminate beliefs by denying them, you replace them. If your belief is, I'm not disciplined. Replace it with, I am learning discipline daily through action. If your belief is, I always quit, replace it with, I am building consistency one decision at a time. Notice the shift. Not fantasy, not delusion, progress-based identity. Your brain needs repetition and evidence. New beliefs must be reinforced with action. Belief without behavior is empty. Behavior without belief is unstable. You need both. The power of identity-based beliefs. Instead of focusing on outcomes, focus on identity. Not, I want to be successful, but I am becoming someone who executes consistently. Not, I want confidence, but I am someone who speaks despite fear. Outcomes fluctuate. Identity sustains. When you change what you believe about yourself, your behavior follows naturally. The discomfort of expansion. Here is something important. When you adopt a new belief, your old identity will resist. You may feel imposter syndrome, self-doubt, fear of judgment, anxiety. This does not mean the belief is wrong, it means it is unfamiliar. Your mind prefers known limitations over unknown potential. But discomfort is not danger, it is growth in progress. The belief audit. Write this down. The 3 beliefs that most limit my growth are: where did they originate? What evidence proves they are not absolute truth? What empowering belief can replace each one? What action will I take this week to reinforce the new belief? This is not motivational work, it is structural work. You are rebuilding the foundation of your identity. The first taste of freedom. When you realize your beliefs are changeable, you experience something powerful: choice. You are not bound by your past interpretations. You are not defined by one failure, or one opinion, or one season. You are defined by what you reinforce daily. Breaking free from limiting beliefs is not a one-time event. It is a discipline, but it is also liberation. Because once you see that your mind is programmable, you stop being a victim of old narratives, and you start becoming the architect of new ones. The next chapter will challenge you even further, because once you break the beliefs, you must face something harder: the courage to begin again. Chapter 4. The Courage to Begin. Part 1. The Awakening. Awareness changes nothing. Understanding changes nothing. Even belief change changes nothing until you act. You can see the prison. You can calculate the cost. You can rewrite the beliefs. But none of it matters without one thing: the courage to begin. Why beginning is so hard? Starting sounds simple. It isn't. Beginning means leaving familiarity, risking embarrassment, accepting imperfection, facing uncertainty, letting go of your current identity. And your brain does not like uncertainty. It prefers the known discomfort over the unknown possibility. So it whispers, wait, prepare more, research more, start next week, start when you feel ready. But readiness is a myth. No one feels fully ready to become someone new. The myth of motivation. You don't need more motivation. You need a decision. Motivation is emotional. Decision is structural. Motivation fluctuates. Decision anchors. If you wait to feel inspired, you will remain in cycles of intensity and relapse. Real transformation begins when you act despite how you feel. Courage is not the absence of fear, it is action in the presence of it. Identity shift requires action. Here's the truth. You don't become confident and then act confidently. You act confidently and confidence forms. You don't become disciplined and then take action. You take disciplined action and discipline forms. The new identity is built through behavior. Small behaviors, repeated, uncomfortable, intentional. The old you survives through hesitation. The new you is born through movement. The fear of judgment. One of the biggest barriers to beginning is judgment. What will they think? What if I fail publicly? What if I look foolish? Understand this. People are too busy thinking about themselves to obsess over you. And even if they judge, their opinions cannot build or destroy your potential. Only your inaction can do that. Growth will always threaten someone who is comfortable with your old identity. But your evolution is not a democracy. It is a personal decision. Imperfect action is superior to perfect planning. Perfectionism is procrastination disguised as standards. You tell yourself you want to do it right, but often you just want to avoid discomfort. You don't need perfect clarity, you need movement. Clarity comes from action. Confidence comes from repetition. Strength comes from resistance. You cannot think your way into transformation. You must move your way into it. The first brick. Beginning does not require a dramatic life overhaul. It requires one decisive act, one workout, one difficult conversation, one commitment kept, one habit started, one boundary set. Transformation is not built in one explosion. It is built brick by brick. But the first brick requires courage. The internal shift. When you begin, something subtle changes. You stop seeing yourself as someone who wants to change. You become someone who acts. That shift is powerful. Because once you prove to yourself that you can begin, you weaken the identity of hesitation. You build evidence, and evidence strengthens belief. Beginning once is difficult. Beginning twice is easier. Beginning consistently becomes identity. The line in the sand. There must be a moment where you say, no more. No more excuses, no more waiting, no more blaming, no more shrinking. Not dramatically, quietly, internally. A decision that your future matters more than your comfort. This is where transformation truly starts. Not when circumstances change, not when motivation spikes, but when you draw a line. The beginning ritual. Write this down. The version of me I am leaving behind is, the first action I will take within 24 hours is, the habit I will begin immediately is, the excuse I refuse to use again is, then act. Within 24 hours, not next week, not soon. Momentum begins immediately. The threshold. You are standing at a threshold. Behind you, familiarity, excuses, old identity. Ahead of you, discomfort, uncertainty, expansion. There is no bridge. There is only a step. Courage is not loud. It is a quiet decision followed by action. And once you begin, you cannot unknow what you are capable of. Part 1 ends here. You have awakened. You have seen the prison. You have calculated the cost. You have broken the beliefs. You have chosen to begin. Now comes the harder part, destruction. Because before you build the new you, something must die. Chapter 5. Identifying what must die. Part 2. The demolition. You cannot rebuild yourself while protecting the very patterns that keep you small. Growth is not addition first, it is subtraction. Before you construct the new identity, you must identify what must be removed, not improved, not managed, not negotiated. Removed. Because some parts of your old self cannot evolve. They must die. The brutal reality of transformation. Transformation is not polite. It does not ask outdated habits for permission. It does not gently escort limiting behaviors out the door. It confronts them directly. If you want a radically different life, you must be willing to radically confront yourself, and that begins with honesty. The 4 things that must die. There are usually 4 categories that demand demolition. 1. Outdated beliefs. Beliefs that once protected you but now restrict you. I'm not capable. I'm not ready. I don't have what it takes. These are not personality traits. They are expired narratives. 2. Self-sabotaging habits. Habits that reinforce weakness. Procrastination, overconsumption, avoidance, discipline inconsistency, emotional reactivity. Habits are identity in motion. If the habit survives, the old identity survives. 3. Comfort-based environments. Places and people that normalize your stagnation. Environments shape behavior. If your surroundings reward mediocrity, growth becomes rebellion. You cannot become powerful in a space designed for comfort. 4. Excuses that sound logical. I don't have time. It's not the right season. I'll start when things settle down. Excuses protect ego, but they destroy potential. If you protect the excuse, you bury the future. The emotional attachment to the old you. Here is what makes this difficult. You are attached to your old self, even the flawed parts. They're familiar. They've been with you for years. They have stories attached to them. But familiarity is not loyalty, and growth requires emotional detachment. You must understand, letting go of old identity traits does not erase your history, it upgrades your trajectory. The fear of identity death. When you remove an old pattern, it feels destabilizing. If you've always been the funny one, who are you without deflection? If you've always been the quiet one, who are you without hiding? If you've always been the laid-back one, who are you without avoidance? Demolition feels like loss, because it is, but it is strategic loss, and strategic loss creates space. The inventory of elimination. Before you build, you must audit. Write this down honestly. The habit that most weakens me is, the belief that most limits me is, the environment that most encourages stagnation is, the excuse I use most often is, the behavior I know I must stop immediately is. No sugarcoating, no justification, no but. If you defend it, it survives. The power of decision. Identification alone is not enough. You must decide that certain patterns are no longer negotiable, not reduced, not managed, ended. There is a difference between "I'll try to improve" and "this is no longer part of who I am." The second is identity-level decision, and identity-level decisions create irreversible momentum. Controlled burn. In nature, forests sometimes burn intentionally, not to destroy everything, but to remove what prevents new growth. This is controlled demolition. You are not destroying yourself, you are destroying what weakens you. And the sooner you accept that some traits must die, the sooner freedom begins. The space after death. When something dies, there is silence, an uncomfortable emptiness. You may feel uncertain, unanchored, exposed. That is normal, because identity was your structure. But that emptiness is not danger, it is space, and space is where new architecture begins. The non-negotiable rule. If you protect what weakens you, you sabotage what strengthens you. You cannot build a disciplined future while protecting lazy habits. You cannot build confidence while protecting self-doubt narratives. You cannot build power while protecting victim stories. Something must go, and you already know what it is. The commitment. This chapter is not about theory. It is about commitment. Choose one thing, one habit, one belief, one pattern, and declare, this ends now. Not emotionally, structurally. Remove access, change environment, replace routine, set boundaries. Demolition requires action. The beginning of destruction. You have awakened, you have seen the cost, you have begun. Now the demolition phase has started. You have identified what must die. The next step is harder, because once you know what must die, you must learn how to let it go. And letting go requires more strength than holding on. Chapter 6. The Art of Letting Go. Part 2. The Demolition. Letting go is one of the hardest acts of transformation. You are not just releasing habits or beliefs, you are releasing pieces of yourself, parts of your identity, parts of your comfort, parts of your history. And yet, if you cannot let go, you cannot rebuild. If you cling to what no longer serves you, you are chaining the new version of yourself to the old. This chapter teaches you the art and strategy of letting go, with clarity, courage, and precision. Why letting go feels impossible. Attachment is natural. It is human. You are attached to familiar routines, familiar emotions, familiar identities, familiar people and environments. Even if they are toxic, limiting, or outdated. Your brain interprets change as threat, even positive change. It whispers, "Hold on, at least this is known." You might fail without it. What if this was useful in the past? The longer you cling, the heavier the chains. The difference between letting go and giving up. Letting go is not surrender, it is strategy. Giving up is passive. Letting go is active. Giving up says, "I can't." Letting go says, "I choose what serves my growth." You do not abandon yourself, you abandon what weakens your potential. The emotional process. Letting go triggers emotion. Guilt, "I shouldn't leave this behind." Fear, "What if I fail without it?" Sadness, "This was part of me." Anxiety, "Am I making a mistake?" These feelings are normal. They are a sign you are at the threshold of growth. Feel them, observe them. Do not use them as an excuse to stay small. Steps to master the art. 1. Name it. Identify exactly what you are holding on to. A habit, a belief, a person, a situation, or an identity trait. 2. Acknowledge its role. Understand why it existed. What purpose did it serve in your past? Gratitude transforms attachment into closure. 3. Accept the loss. You may fear emptiness or regret. Acceptance does not mean liking it. It means recognizing that its time is over. 4. Release strategically. Change routines, environments, or thought patterns that reinforce the old. Stop feeding it attention, energy, and permission to linger. 5. Replace with new anchors. Empty space must be filled with intention. New habits, new beliefs, new environments, new people. Letting go is not vacuum creation, it is preparation for construction. The myth of control. Clinging often comes from a false sense of control. If I hold on, I can keep things safe. If I maintain this habit, I won't fail. The reality, holding on limits your future. Control is an illusion. Growth demands release. Your power increases the moment you let go of what you cannot control, especially outdated parts of yourself. Environmental letting go. Sometimes letting go is external. People who reinforce your old identity. Places that anchor you in comfort. Jobs or responsibilities that drain but do not elevate. Removing toxic or stagnant influence is not betrayal, it is strategy. You cannot rebuild with old debris in your foundation. Mental and emotional letting go. Stop rehearsing past failures. Stop blaming yourself for what you once believed. Stop justifying mediocrity. Memory is not your identity. Experience is not your destiny. You are not bound by the scripts of yesterday. The pain of release is temporary. The moment you let go, you may feel disoriented, vulnerable, empty. This is natural. Emptiness is a sign of space being created. In that space, the new self begins to emerge. In that discomfort, growth accelerates. Do not flee it, do not numb it, do not regret it. Letting go exercises. Write a goodbye letter to the habit, belief, or identity you are releasing. Thank it for its service, then declare it's no longer in your life. Visualize removal. Close your eyes and imagine the old self leaving your body. Picture it as a shadow dissolving. Replace immediately. After letting go, insert a constructive habit, thought, or action that reinforces your new identity. The power of empty space. Remember, a foundation cannot be built on clutter. Every great structure begins with a clear blueprint and open land. Every transformation begins with letting go. The more decisive you are in demolition, the stronger your construction phase will be. The art of letting go is not weakness, it is the ultimate expression of strength. And once mastered, it allows you to step forward unburdened, ready to redefine yourself entirely. The next chapter will guide you in taking the fire further, burning the bridges to your past so the new version of you can rise without chains. Chapter 7. Burning the Bridges to Your Past. Part 2. The Demolition. Transformation demands more than letting go. Sometimes it requires complete separation. Bridges connect us to what we've left behind. Some bridges are necessary: family, values, lessons. But most bridges to your past are anchors, keeping you tethered to who you no longer need to be. Burning the bridges is not destruction for its own sake. It is strategic liberation. It is the fire that ensures the old cannot sneak back in. Why bridges hold you back? A bridge allows for return. Old habits: I'll just check in one more time. Old people: they'll always be part of my life. Old thinking: maybe that strategy was useful. Every bridge carries energy, influence, and temptation. If you leave a bridge standing, the past can pull you back. True transformation is one way. The emotional weight of bridges. Burning a bridge is uncomfortable. Fear: what if I need it later? Guilt: am I being too harsh? Nostalgia: I used to love that habit, person, or life. Doubt: am I overreacting? These feelings are not signs of weakness. They are signs that the bridge was significant and letting go is meaningful. The more important the bridge, the more transformative the fire. Bridges that must burn. 1. Relationships that reinforce old identity. Friends, colleagues, partners who normalize mediocrity, procrastination, or negativity. Your growth will feel threatening to them, and they may try to pull you back. 2. Environments that anchor old patterns. Homes, workplaces, or social circles that reward stagnation or fear. You cannot evolve in a space designed for survival, not expansion. 3. Habits that define the old you. Comfort eating, binge watching, overthinking, self-pity, avoidance, procrastination. Habits are invisible bridges to old identity. Cut them. 4. Thought loops that reaffirm the past. Regret, self-blame, I can't, it's too late, I'm not enough. These mental patterns are bridges disguised as reasoning. The fire of commitment. Burning the bridges is symbolic and practical. Symbolic: you declare your total commitment to the new version of yourself. Practical: you remove access points for regression. Without fire, the past can linger, subtle but persistent. Without fire, demolition is incomplete. How to burn strategically? Identify your bridges. List every connection to your old self, including habits, environments, and relationships. Decision point: mark which bridges must be completely severed. Fire action: take immediate steps to remove access, set boundaries, or restructure your environment. Replacement ritual: add at least one empowering habit, environment, or relationship for every bridge burned. Walking away fully. Burning bridges is not revenge, it is self-respect. It is walking into the future fully unburdened. After this, your old self cannot follow. Old excuses cannot sneak back in. Old limitations cannot whisper in your ear. The path is cleared. Now you are ready to embrace the void, the emptiness where the new identity is born. Because destruction is not the goal, it is preparation for creation. Chapter 8. Embracing the Void. Part 2. The Demolition. After burning the bridges, after letting go, after dismantling what no longer serves you, you arrive at the void. The emptiness can be terrifying because for the first time, there is nothing familiar beneath your feet. No crutches, no old habits, no outdated identity. And yet, this void is not danger. It is the birthplace of your new self. Embracing the void is not optional. It is essential. Why the void feels terrifying? Humans crave certainty. Even painful certainty is preferred over unknown possibility. The void feels like anxiety. Who am I without my old self? Fear. What if I fail without my crutches? Loneliness. What if I'm truly alone in this transformation? These are natural. They are proof you are shedding the old. They are signals that growth is imminent. The void as creative space. The void is neutral space. It is neither good nor bad. It is potential waiting to be formed. In the void, habits have not yet defined you. In the void, beliefs have not yet anchored you. In the void, your identity is flexible and undefined. Most people fear this space and flee back to their old identity. But those who step in courageously become architects of something far greater. The gift of emptiness. Emptiness is freedom disguised as discomfort. It allows you to question everything, redefine your priorities, reassess what you truly value, choose who you want to become. The void is where clarity is forged, where your old patterns have no authority, where your vision begins to take shape. Letting go of control. One reason the void is terrifying, you cannot control it. You cannot plan every step. You cannot predict every outcome. You cannot guarantee success. And that's the point. Control is the illusion your old self clings to. Embrace the unknown. Surrender the expectation of certainty. Trust that growth occurs in the tension of discomfort. Practical ways to step into the void. Silence and solitude. Spend time without distractions. Let your mind confront the emptiness. Journal without filter. Write freely about fears, doubts, desires, and potential identities. Meditative reflection. Observe thoughts without judgment. See which belong to your old self. Micro actions. Take small, intentional steps toward new behaviors despite uncertainty. The void is not a place of stagnation. It is a testing ground for the new you. Reframing the void. Think of the void as a blank canvas, unfinished architecture, a laboratory of identity, space for unlimited potential. The discomfort is temporary. The results are permanent. If you cling to familiarity, the void becomes paralyzing. If you step into it intentionally, the void becomes empowering. The paradox of emptiness. Fear of emptiness keeps people small, but emptiness is strength in disguise. The void forces introspection. The void removes distractions. The void demands deliberate creation. The void makes every choice conscious. You are no longer acting out of habit. You are acting with intention. The first steps in the void. Detach from old scripts. Notice which thoughts are echoes of your past self. Stop obeying them. Define the new core. Start outlining values, principles, and identity traits you want to anchor. Small wins build confidence. Even minor actions in alignment with the new you reinforce courage. Stay uncomfortable. Discomfort is the void speaking. Pay attention, but do not flee. The threshold of creation. The void is not emptiness forever. It is the prelude to construction. Without the void, demolition is wasted. Without embracing discomfort, transformation fails. This is where the new identity begins to take root, silent, unshakable, and ready to expand. Embracing the void is a declaration. I am no longer defined by my past. I am ready to construct the self I was meant to become. The next part of your journey moves into foundation building, where clarity becomes strategy and potential becomes reality. Chapter 9: Defining Your Core Values. Part 3: The Foundation. After demolition and embracing the void, the next step is foundation building. A strong identity requires clear, unshakable values. Values are the bedrock of your new self, the principles that guide decisions, shape habits, and anchor your growth. Without them, your transformation will crumble under pressure. With them, you have a compass that cannot be stolen or shaken. Why core values matter. Core values are not just moral guidelines, they are filters for decisions, anchors for behavior, standards for self-respect, the identity your actions will reflect. When your actions align with your values, confidence and consistency grow naturally. When they conflict, stress, guilt, and regression appear. Values give structure to the void you embraced in the previous chapter. They turn empty space into a launching pad. The difference between rules and values. Rules: I must wake up at 5 a.m. I cannot eat sugar. I must exercise daily. Values: integrity, discipline, growth, courage. Rules can be broken. Values cannot be compromised without self-betrayal. Rules are tactics. Values are identity. When you define your values first, rules and habits become easier to implement. How to discover your core values. Reflect on peak experiences. Think about moments when you felt truly fulfilled, proud, or alive. What principles were present? Identify frustrations. What behaviors or situations trigger your anger, frustration, or discomfort? Often they violate your hidden values. Ask the legacy question. What do I want to be remembered for? The answer usually points to your core values. Prioritize. List 10 to 15 potential values, then narrow to 3 to 5 that feel non-negotiable. These will guide your identity. Examples of core values. Some common core values include integrity, keeping promises to self and others; discipline, taking consistent action despite comfort; courage, facing fear and uncertainty; growth, prioritizing learning and evolution; health, valuing body, mind, and energy; contribution, giving value beyond self; resilience, persisting in adversity. Your values will be unique to your life vision. They must resonate deeply. They must feel non-negotiable. The power of anchoring in values. Values act like gravitational pull. When you face decisions, should I take this opportunity? Should I end this relationship? Should I say no? Your core values provide instant clarity. They reduce mental friction. They increase confidence. They give you courage to act decisively. Aligning actions with values. Once defined, values are only useful if reflected in your actions. Ask yourself daily, did I act in alignment with my values today? Did any decisions betray my principles? What adjustments do I need tomorrow? This simple habit prevents identity drift. It turns transformation from abstract intention into lived reality. Dealing with conflicts. Sometimes values conflict. Courage versus comfort, discipline versus desire for leisure, growth versus security. When conflicts arise, let your priority values guide you. Some trade-offs are necessary. Clarity prevents confusion and regression. The long-term benefit. Values are like foundation pillars. No matter the storm, criticism, failure, temptation, they keep you upright. When habits falter or motivation wanes, values don't fail. They are the identity anchors that make transformation sustainable. Core values exercise. List 10 moments when you felt proud, alive, or fulfilled. Identify the principle present in each moment. List 10 frustrations or triggers. Identify the violated principle. Combine lists and narrow to 3 to 5 core, non-negotiable values. Write them down prominently, review daily. These values are now the non-negotiable foundation of your rebuilt self. The next step. With values defined, the void is now a foundation ready for construction. The next chapter, Crafting Your Vision, will guide you in designing a life that aligns perfectly with these principles. Because values give you direction, but vision gives you destination.
Chapter 10, Crafting Your Vision. Part 3, The Foundation. Values give you anchor points, but without vision, you drift. Vision is the blueprint for the self you are becoming. It's not a vague hope. It's a clear, compelling, and actionable picture of the life you intend to create. Crafting your vision transforms potential into direction, emptiness into purpose, and chaos into a structured path forward. Why vision matters. Without vision, effort is scattered, motivation fades quickly, identity reconstruction falters, habits fail to align. With vision, every action has a purpose, challenges become navigable, growth feels intentional, decisions align with your future self. Vision is the compass of transformation. The difference between a goal and a vision. Goal: short-term, measurable outcome. Example: I want to earn $100,000 this year. Vision: long-term, identity-based trajectory. Example: I am building a life of financial freedom, influence, and contribution where my skills and impact grow every day. Goals are milestones. Vision is the roadmap. Goals may shift. Vision anchors everything. How to craft a transformative vision. 1. Visualize your ideal life. Imagine 3 to 5 years from now. Who are you? How do you behave? What habits define you? What relationships support your growth? How does your health, energy, and mindset feel? Be vivid. Include emotional, relational, and lifestyle aspects, not just achievements. 2. Align with your core values. Your vision must resonate with your values. Courageous individuals won't settle for fear-based safety. Growth-driven people won't accept stagnation. Integrity-centered people won't compromise principles for comfort. If your vision conflicts with your values, it's unsustainable. 3. Make it identity-based. Focus on who you want to become, not just what you want to achieve. I am someone who executes consistently, no matter the fear. I am someone who builds deep, meaningful relationships. I am someone who leads with integrity and impact. Identity-based vision makes transformation intrinsic, not reliant on external validation. 4. Include the 5 key dimensions. A comprehensive vision addresses these areas: personal growth, mental, emotional, spiritual evolution, health and vitality, physical energy, habits, and fitness, relationships, family, friendships, partnerships, career/purpose, work, entrepreneurship, creative contribution, lifestyle/environment, living conditions, experiences, freedom. Balance ensures you don't excel in one area and collapse in another. 5. Anchor emotionally. Your vision must feel urgent and compelling. Ask yourself, what will life feel like if I achieve this vision? What will it feel like if I don't? Emotion drives action when discipline wanes. Writing your vision. Use present tense, not I will. Be specific yet flexible. Include measurable habits, values, and identity statements. Review daily to reinforce your future self. Example: I am a disciplined, courageous, and creative individual who inspires growth in others. I maintain peak physical health, manage my finances wisely, and invest in meaningful relationships. Every day I execute actions aligned with my vision, overcoming fear and procrastination with clarity and purpose. Vision as a guiding light. Decisions become easier, habits form naturally around the vision, motivation aligns with identity, resistance from old self or environment loses influence. Your vision is the life blueprint, the map out of old limitations and the path toward the self you are building. The exercise, vision crafting. Sit in silence and reflect on the ideal version of yourself 3 to 5 years from now. Write down all aspects of life: personal, relational, career, health, lifestyle. Align each aspect with your core values. Convert each element into an identity-based statement, I am. Review every morning and visualize daily. This is not wishful thinking, it is identity engineering. From vision to action. Once your vision is clear, habits become aligned, daily rituals have purpose, choices become easier, transformation accelerates. Values are your foundation, vision is your architecture. The next chapter, The Power of Daily Rituals, will teach you how to build the scaffolding and processes that make this vision inevitable.
Chapter 11: The Power of Daily Rituals. Part 3: The Foundation. Vision without action is fantasy. Even the clearest, most compelling vision means nothing if it isn't embedded in daily life. Daily rituals are the scaffolding of transformation. They convert intention into identity and potential into reality. Small, consistent actions compound over time to create extraordinary results. This chapter shows you how to design rituals that make your new self inevitable. Why rituals matter. Habits fail when they are impulsive or inconsistent. Rituals succeed because they are non-negotiable systems. Rituals anchor your values in daily action, automate excellence, reduce decision fatigue, build identity from the ground up. Your old self survived on randomness and reaction. Your new self thrives on intention and structure. The difference between habits and rituals. Habits, individual behaviors. For example, I drink water in the morning. Rituals, integrated sequences that reinforce identity. For example, wake at 5 a.m., meditate 10 minutes, journal 15 minutes, plan the day. Rituals are identity in motion, while habits are building blocks. Designing your transformation rituals. Anchor to core values. Every ritual should reflect your non-negotiable values. Example, if growth is a core value, a morning ritual could include reading, journaling, or skill practice. Keep it simple and non-negotiable. Complexity invites procrastination. Simplicity invites consistency. Sequence for momentum. The order matters. Start small, build flow, end with reinforcement. Daily implementation. Rituals require repetition, not perfection. Missing one day is not failure. Abandoning the ritual is. Morning rituals for high performance. Wake early, claim your day before distractions arrive, hydrate and nourish, fuel your body and mind, meditation or breathing, center focus and calm energy; journaling, record gratitude, intentions, and reflections; movement, exercise or stretching to energize; priority task planning, identify 1 to 3 critical actions aligned with vision; evening rituals for integration, reflect on the day, wins, lessons, emotions; prepare tomorrow, set priorities, reduce friction for morning ritual; disconnect, remove screens and overstimulation; gratitude practice, reinforce positivity and resilience. Evening rituals reinforce identity and prevent regression to the old self. Anchoring rituals to identity. Ask, which actions define the person I want to become? Which rituals reflect my core values daily? Identity-based rituals turn action into who you are, not just what you do. Example, instead of saying, I read to gain knowledge, say I am a disciplined learner who expands my mind daily. Overcoming resistance. The old self resists new rituals. Excuses arise. I'm too tired. I'll start tomorrow. I don't have time. Discomfort appears. Your brain dislikes new energy and focus patterns. Response. Discipline over motivation. Motivation fluctuates. Ritual endures. The compound effect of daily rituals. Rituals may feel small today. 20 minutes of journaling, 10 minutes of meditation, 1 focused work session. But over months and years, these actions compound. Small daily improvements create massive transformation. Energy, focus, and clarity multiply. Confidence and discipline become automatic. Identity becomes aligned with your vision. The ritual audit. List your current daily actions. Identify which support your new identity and which reinforce the old. Design 3 to 5 high-leverage rituals for morning, afternoon, and evening. Implement and track consistently. Adjust periodically. Rituals evolve with your growth. Key takeaway. Your rituals bridge the void between who you were and who you are becoming. Without them, vision and values remain abstract. With them, transformation becomes inevitable, structured, and sustainable. The next chapter, Building New Habits, will explore how to reinforce your new identity through behavior patterns that stick long-term.
Chapter 12, Building New Habits. Part 4, The Construction. Habits are the bridge between intention and identity. Your vision and values give direction, but without habits, transformation is fragile and temporary. Building new habits is not about discipline alone. It's about engineering your environment, cues, and actions so that the new you becomes automatic. This chapter teaches the science and strategy behind creating habits that last and anchor your new identity. Why most habits fail. Habits fail because people rely solely on willpower. They start with motivation, which is finite and fickle. They set overly ambitious goals that overwhelm. They ignore environmental cues that trigger old behaviors. The result? Frustration, guilt, and regression. Habits succeed when they are strategic, identity-aligned, and consistent. The habit-identity connection. You don't change habits to change life. You change habits to change identity. Old habit, I procrastinate, equals identity, I am lazy. New habit, I start tasks immediately, equals identity, I am disciplined and proactive. Small, repeated behaviors rewrite your self-image over time. Identity-based habits are unstoppable because your behavior aligns with your core sense of self. The 3 pillars of habit formation. 1. Cue, or trigger. Habits start with a signal. Make your new habit easy to start by attaching it to an existing cue. Example, After brushing teeth, I meditate for 5 minutes. Example, when I pour coffee, I review my vision statements. Cues must be visible, immediate, and consistent. Routine, or action. The habit itself, the small, repeatable action you perform consistently. Start small. Focus on micro habits that feel manageable. Example, 10 push-ups daily, 1-page journaling, 5 minutes of stretching. Micro habits compound into identity-shaping patterns over time. Reward, or reinforcement. Your brain needs reinforcement to repeat behaviors. Reward equals emotional payoff. Examples, sense of accomplishment, energy boost, visualization of future self. Reward solidifies the habit and ties it to identity satisfaction. Breaking down old habits. New habits cannot thrive alongside old, limiting habits. Identify old habits that contradict your values and vision. Replace them with alternative routines rather than relying on suppression. Adjust environment to reduce friction for good habits and increase friction for bad ones. Example, old habit, scrolling social media for 1 hour. New habit, reading or skill practice during the same time slot. Remove phone notifications or leave phone in another room. Habit stacking. Stack new habits onto existing ones for easier adoption. After brushing teeth, 5-minute meditation. After morning coffee, read a chapter of a book. Before bed, journal gratitude and plan next day. This creates a chain of positive routines that become effortless over time. Tracking and accountability. Track habits daily to reinforce commitment. Use journals, apps, or accountability partners. Visual progress reinforces identity. I am someone who follows through consistently. Handling resistance. Old self will resist new habits. Delay tactics, rationalizations, discomfort. Strategy. Commit first, feel later. Commit to 2-minute versions of the habit to overcome resistance. Gradually increase intensity. Celebrate consistency over perfection. Habit reinforcement through environment. Your environment shapes behavior more than willpower. Keep cues visible. Remove distractions. Surround yourself with people and tools that support your growth. Align physical space with identity. Clean desk, healthy food, inspirational prompts. Key takeaway. Habits are the invisible architecture of the new you. Small, consistent actions equal identity transformation. Stack, track, and align with vision and values. Replace old habits strategically. Don't just suppress them. Habits are the scaffolding. Rituals are the frame. Vision is the blueprint. The next chapter, Developing Emotional Mastery, will guide you through managing your emotions so that fear, doubt, and resistance no longer sabotage your transformation. Chapter 13, Developing Emotional Mastery. Part 4, The Construction. Transformation is not just physical or behavioral, it is emotional. Your emotions are powerful signals, but when uncontrolled, they become saboteurs. Fear, doubt, anger, guilt, and anxiety can derail the most disciplined routines, the clearest vision, and the strongest habits. Developing emotional mastery is the skill of navigating your inner world so it serves your growth instead of blocking it. Why emotional mastery matters. Without mastery, fear keeps you stuck in old habits. Frustration fuels self-sabotage. Guilt traps you in the past. Excitement fades without momentum. With mastery, you respond, not react. You act despite discomfort. You maintain consistency under pressure. You leverage emotions as fuel, not friction. Emotional mastery is the engine of resilience. Understanding your emotional triggers. Before mastering emotions, you must understand them. Identify triggers, situations, people, or thoughts that spark strong reactions. Observe patterns. Which emotions repeatedly block your progress? Separate emotion from identity. Feelings are signals, not definitions of who you are. Example: trigger, receiving criticism. Old response, shame, withdrawal, defensiveness. Mastered response, curiosity, evaluation, constructive adjustment. Techniques for emotional mastery. 1. Mindfulness and observation. Notice emotions without judgment. Label them. I feel anxious. I feel frustrated. Awareness prevents automatic reaction. 2. Breathing and centering. Deep diaphragmatic breaths reset your nervous system. Use 4-7-8 breathing or box breathing during high stress. 3. Cognitive reframing. Shift perspective. Fear becomes opportunity. Failure becomes lesson. Ask, what is this emotion trying to tell me? Ask, how can I act despite this feeling? 4. Journaling emotional patterns. Record triggers, reactions, and lessons learned. Over time, patterns emerge and allow preemptive action. 5. Emotional anchoring. Anchor positive emotional states to physical actions. Example, pressing thumb and forefinger together while recalling confidence. Use anchor before high-pressure situations. Responding versus reacting. Reacting, automatic, uncontrolled, often destructive. Responding, intentional, controlled, aligned with vision. Emotional mastery shifts you from reactive to responsive. You no longer let moods dictate habits. You maintain alignment with values and vision. Managing negative emotions. Fear, break tasks into micro-actions, anchor in purpose. Doubt, focus on evidence of past wins and growth. Anger, use energy to fuel productive action, not destruction. Guilt, reflect, learn, and redirect action, don't ruminate. Cultivating emotional resilience. Accept discomfort. Transformation is inherently uncomfortable. Face emotions regularly, do not avoid them. Rehearse challenges mentally. Build confidence through visualization. Seek growth in adversity. Stress is a teacher. Emotional mastery and relationships. Mastery improves communication, reduces conflict, strengthens influence, allows you to model calm leadership. The people around you respond to your emotional state. Mastery shapes your environment and influence. Daily practices for emotional mastery. Morning meditation or reflection, 10 to 20 minutes. Journaling emotions and lessons daily. Breathing exercises in moments of stress. Reframing negative thoughts immediately. Weekly review, analyze emotional patterns and adjust strategies. Key takeaway. Emotional mastery turns your internal world into an ally. Fear becomes motivation. Doubt becomes clarity. Anxiety becomes focus. Anger becomes power. Mastery is not suppression. It is channeling emotion to serve your vision and values. The next chapter, Creating Powerful Relationships, will explore how to build the network, connections, and partnerships that accelerate your transformation.
Chapter 14, Creating Powerful Relationships. Part 4, The Construction. No transformation occurs in isolation. The people you surround yourself with either propel you forward or hold you back. Creating powerful relationships is not about collecting contacts or networking superficially. It is about building connections that reinforce your growth, align with your vision, and expand your influence. Your relationships are amplifiers. They multiply or diminish the power of your new identity. Why relationships matter in transformation. Your environment shapes behavior. People influence habits, mindsets, and decisions. Feedback and mentorship accelerate growth. Support systems provide accountability, motivation, and perspective.
Strategic relationships open doors to opportunities you cannot access alone. Even the strongest habits or vision fail without social reinforcement. The 4 types of relationships to build. 1. Mentors, experienced guides who have walked the path before. Offer wisdom, advice, and shortcuts. Challenge you beyond your comfort zone. 2. Peers or growth allies, people striving for growth alongside you. Share accountability, learning, and encouragement. Model behaviors you want to adopt. 3. Influencers or experts, individuals with skills, knowledge, or influence in your desired domain. Provide insights, partnerships, and access. Push you to expand your capabilities. 4. Support network, family, friends, or colleagues who provide emotional stability. Celebrate wins and sustain motivation. Offer perspective during setbacks. Principles for building powerful relationships. 1. Value alignment. Seek relationships that reflect your core values. Misaligned relationships create friction and drain energy. 2. Mutual benefit. Powerful relationships are reciprocal. Give before you receive. Offer support and cultivate trust. 3. Intentionality. Relationships don't form by accident. Identify people who inspire, challenge, and elevate you. Then invest time and effort in connecting. 4. Boundaries. Not every connection is worth maintaining. Eliminate relationships that reinforce your old identity or drain your growth energy. How to strengthen relationships. Active listening. Focus on understanding, not responding. Consistent engagement. Schedule time for meaningful interaction. Provide value. Share knowledge, support, and resources generously. Seek feedback. Ask mentors and peers to challenge your assumptions and actions. Celebrate others' success. Empowering others reinforces your own growth mindset. Relationships that accelerate transformation. People who hold you accountable to your vision. Individuals who model mastery in areas you wish to excel. Partners who push you out of your comfort zone. Connections who inspire courage and persistence. These are not casual friendships. They are strategic alliances for identity construction. Avoiding toxic relationships. Criticism disguised as concern that discourages ambition. Comparisons that foster envy or self-doubt. Dependence on people for emotional regulation. Networks that reinforce stagnation or old habits. Your transformation requires protective boundaries. The ripple effect. When you cultivate powerful relationships, your energy, confidence, and vision grow exponentially. You attract opportunities aligned with your transformation. You model a standard of excellence that others emulate. Your influence extends beyond yourself. Transformation becomes social as well as personal. Exercises to build powerful relationships. List 5 to 10 people who inspire your growth. Schedule meaningful interaction with each. Identify 3 mentors or experts you can learn from. Ask for guidance or advice. Audit current relationships. Remove or limit time with those who reinforce the old self. Practice giving value consistently. Support others without expecting immediate returns. Key takeaway. Your identity is shaped by the people you consistently engage with. Strategic, powerful relationships amplify transformation, accelerate growth, and anchor your new self in reality. The next chapter, Physical Transformation, will explore how your body, energy, and health become an essential part of your rebuilt identity.
Chapter 15, Physical Transformation, Part 4, The Construction. Your body is not just a vessel, it is a reflection of your identity, discipline, and potential. Physical transformation is a critical pillar of personal metamorphosis because the mind, body, and habits are deeply interconnected. Changing how you move, fuel, and care for yourself reinforces the new identity you are building. Why physical transformation matters. Energy amplification.
A strong, healthy body fuels productivity, focus, and resilience. Confidence and presence. How you carry yourself impacts perception and self-belief. Discipline reinforcement. Physical routines strengthen mental discipline and habit formation. Mind-body connection. Emotions, mindset, and behavior improve when physical health is prioritized. Transformation is incomplete if your body remains stuck in old patterns. Principles of physical transformation. Movement as a ritual. Choose exercises that align with your goals and values. Morning movement signals readiness and energy for the day. Regular physical activity builds mental resilience as much as fitness. Nutrition as fuel. Food is information for your body and brain. Prioritize nutrient-dense meals to support energy, focus, and recovery. Avoid habits that reinforce lethargy or mental fog. Sleep as a foundation. Adequate sleep regulates hormones, cognition, and emotional resilience. Lack of sleep sabotages both physical and mental transformation. Treat sleep as a non-negotiable ritual. Recovery and stress management. Incorporate active recovery, meditation, and breathing exercises. Overtraining or neglecting stress can reverse gains. Balance challenge with restoration. Designing your physical transformation plan. Assess current state. Fitness, nutrition, sleep, posture, energy levels. Identify habits supporting or sabotaging health. Define target state. Body composition goals, energy levels, flexibility, strength, endurance. Align with your vision and values. Create daily and weekly routines. Exercise 3 to 5 sessions per week. Mix strength, mobility, and cardiovascular. Nutrition, plan meals, hydration, and mindful eating. Recovery, sleep, meditation, and stretching. Track progress and adjust. Track metrics, weight, energy, strength, sleep quality, performance. Adjust routines based on feedback and results. Habits that reinforce physical transformation. Morning movement or stretching ritual. Daily hydration goal. Balanced meal preparation. Tracking sleep and rest. Weekly reflection on energy and performance. Consistency compounds into visible and invisible transformation, affecting confidence, focus, and presence. Overcoming barriers. Common challenges: lack of time, micro-sessions, efficient routines. Motivation dips, anchor in identity. I am someone who values health. Environment. Remove unhealthy temptations and create access to supportive tools. Social pressure. Communicate priorities or seek like-minded communities. The mind-body feedback loop. Mindset affects body. Confidence, courage, and focus are mirrored physically. Body affects mind. Energy, alertness, and emotional resilience improve with movement, nutrition, and sleep. Physical transformation accelerates identity transformation because it makes your growth tangible and visible. Key takeaway: your body is a living statement of your new self. Strength, health, and energy amplify discipline and focus. Presence and confidence reinforce identity. Daily habits compound into long-term transformation. Master your body, and your mind and emotions will follow. The next part, Part 5, Money, Investment, and Empire Financing, will shift focus to creating financial intelligence and resources that support your new life and ambitions.
Chapter 16, Financial Intelligence for Entrepreneurs. Part 5, Money, Investment, and Empire Financing. Transformation is not just personal, it extends to your financial life. Financial intelligence is the ability to understand, manage, and grow your money strategically.
Without it, even the strongest vision, habits, and skills can be limited by a lack of resources. This chapter teaches the principles and strategies of building wealth, managing cash flow, and leveraging opportunities for long-term financial empowerment. Why financial intelligence matters. Freedom of choice. Money provides the ability to act without compromise. Security and resilience. Proper financial management protects against crises. Opportunity creation. Capital allows investments in ventures, education, and growth. Legacy building. Wealth enables you to create lasting impact beyond your lifetime. Financial intelligence is not just about earning, it is about making money serve your vision and values. The 3 pillars of financial intelligence. 1. Financial literacy. Understand money fundamentals, income, expenses, debt, savings, investments. Learn how money flows in your life and business. Recognize the difference between assets, which grow your wealth, and liabilities, which drain your wealth. 2. Budgeting and cash flow management. Track income and expenses meticulously. Allocate money intentionally for growth, investment, and lifestyle. Avoid lifestyle inflation that undermines transformation. 3. Investment and leverage. Learn how to make money work for you through investments, entrepreneurship, or passive income streams. Use leverage, time, skills, capital, responsibly to accelerate growth. Balance risk and reward based on informed decisions, not impulsive emotion. Mindset of a financially intelligent entrepreneur. Abundance mindset. See opportunities, not limitations. Long-term thinking. Prioritize investments and actions that compound over time. Ownership mentality. Take full responsibility for your financial outcomes. Risk management. Mitigate avoidable losses while embracing calculated risks. Financial mastery is as much psychological as it is numerical. Strategies to build financial intelligence. Educate yourself. Read books, take courses, and learn from experienced investors. Understand multiple income streams, business, investments, royalties, dividends. Track every dollar. Create a financial dashboard to monitor inflows, outflows, and net worth. Transparency creates control and informed decision-making. 3. Automate and protect. Automate savings, investments, and debt repayments. Protect assets with insurance, legal structures, and contracts. 4. Grow assets strategically. Start with small, consistent investments. Reinvest profits instead of spending all cash flow. Focus on assets that appreciate over time. 5. Avoid financial traps. High interest debt, lifestyle inflation, impulsive spending, dependence on a single source of income. The link between personal transformation and financial intelligence. Discipline in daily habits strengthens budgeting and investment routines. Emotional mastery reduces impulsive spending and fear-driven financial decisions. Vision and values guide financial priorities. Relationships create opportunities for mentorship, partnerships, and capital growth. Transformation is holistic. Mind, body, habits, relationships, and money must align. Exercises to build financial intelligence. Net worth assessment. Calculate assets minus liabilities. Expense audit. Track every expense for 30 days to identify leaks. Investment learning plan. Study stocks, real estate, businesses, or other vehicles. Financial goal setting. Define 1-year, 3-year, and 5-year targets aligned with your vision. Mentorship and networking. Connect with financially successful and trustworthy mentors. Key takeaway: financial intelligence is the backbone of freedom and growth.
It allows you to take bold actions. It ensures security while taking calculated risks. It compounds the impact of your transformation. It lays the foundation for building an empire, sustaining success, and creating legacy. The next chapter, Funding Your Empire, Bootstrapping Investors and Beyond, will explore practical strategies for financing ventures and scaling your ambitions.
Chapter 17, Funding Your Empire. Part 5, Money, Investment, and Empire Financing. Vision without capital is limitation. You can have the discipline, you can have the strategy, you can have the courage. But if you do not understand how to fund your empire, your expansion will stall. Money is not the goal, it is the fuel. And every empire, whether a business, brand, movement, or legacy, requires fuel to grow. The 3 stages of empire funding. Funding evolves as you grow. What works in the beginning will not be enough later. Stage 1, bootstrapping, self-funded growth. This is where most empires begin. Personal savings, side income, reinvested profits, lean operations. Bootstrapping builds discipline, resourcefulness, ownership mentality. It forces you to validate your idea before scaling. Advantage, full control. Challenge, slower growth. Bootstrapping teaches you how to build strength before speed. Stage 2, strategic leverage. Once validated, you expand through leverage. Partnerships, revenue-sharing models, pre-orders, customer-funded growth, strategic credit used wisely. This stage is about multiplying effort without losing control. Leverage accelerates expansion while maintaining strategic flexibility. Stage 3, external capital. When scaling aggressively, external capital becomes powerful. Angel investors, venture capital, private equity, strategic business loans, equity partnerships. External capital provides speed, infrastructure, market expansion, but it also introduces shared control, accountability to stakeholders, higher expectations. Not every empire needs investors, but every empire builder must understand the option. The mindset of empire financing. Funding is not about desperation, it is about positioning. You do not chase money, you create value that attracts money. Key mindset shifts. Think in assets, not income. Think in scalability, not survival. Think in long-term wealth, not short-term cash. Capital follows clarity and execution. Bootstrapping like a strategist. If you are starting from zero, remember, start lean, validate demand quickly, reinvest profits immediately, eliminate unnecessary expenses, focus on high-margin activities. Every dollar earned should serve growth. Bootstrapping builds financial discipline that protects you later. Attracting investors the right way. Investors invest in clear vision, proven traction, strong leadership, scalable systems, market opportunity. Before seeking capital, ask, is my business model proven? Can I demonstrate consistent revenue or growth? Do I understand my numbers deeply? Capital is attracted to clarity, not confusion. Alternative funding strategies. You do not always need traditional investors. Consider crowdfunding, strategic partnerships, revenue-based financing, grants where applicable, digital product pre-sales, licensing intellectual property. Creative funding often reduces dependency on equity dilution. Cash flow is king. Profit is important, but cash flow sustains survival. An empire collapses not because it lacks potential, but because it runs out of liquidity. Prioritize positive cash flow, emergency reserves, controlled expansion, sustainable operating costs. Speed without stability leads to collapse. Scaling responsibly. Growth requires capital, but reckless expansion destroys empires. Before scaling, strengthen operations, optimize systems, build leadership structure, protect brand reputation. Funding magnifies both strengths and weaknesses. If your foundation is weak, capital accelerates failure. If your foundation is strong, capital accelerates dominance. Personal financial alignment. As an empire builder, separate personal finances, business finances. Pay yourself strategically. Build personal investments outside the business. Avoid tying your entire identity and security to one entity. Diversification protects legacy. The Empire Formula. Validate idea, bootstrap intelligently, optimize systems, leverage partnerships, secure capital strategically, scale with discipline. Funding is not luck, it is a structured progression. Final principle. Money is attracted to value, vision, execution, leadership, stability. If you master those, funding becomes a tool, not a barrier. Your empire is no longer a dream, it is a structure in motion. And capital, when used wisely, transforms motion into momentum.
Chapter 18. Scaling with Systems, Building Infrastructure for Sustainable Growth. Part 5. Money, Investment, and Empire Financing. Funding gives you fuel, but systems give you stability. Many businesses grow fast, few grow sustainably. The difference is not passion, it is not talent, it is not even capital, it is infrastructure. If funding is gasoline, systems are the engine. Without systems, growth creates chaos. With systems, growth creates dominance. Why most growth collapses. When revenue increases but systems remain weak, customer experience declines, team confusion rises, costs spiral out of control, burnout accelerates, quality drops. Growth exposes weaknesses. Scaling without structure is like building higher floors on a weak foundation. Eventually, collapse becomes inevitable. What are systems? Systems are repeatable processes that produce consistent results. They remove dependency on mood, memory, motivation, one individual person. A system ensures that performance happens whether you are present or not. That is the beginning of an empire. The 5 core systems every empire needs. 1. Operational systems, how work gets done. Clear workflows, standard operating procedures, SOPs, defined roles and responsibilities, quality control checkpoints. If tasks are unclear, growth creates confusion. 2. Financial systems, how money flows and is tracked. Budgeting frameworks, expense tracking, revenue forecasting, profit reinvestment strategy. What you do not track will eventually control you. 3. Marketing systems, how customers consistently discover you. Lead generation processes, content pipelines, sales funnels, customer retention strategy. Random marketing produces random results. Systems produce predictable growth. 4. Team and leadership systems, how people perform and collaborate. Hiring frameworks, onboarding processes, performance metrics, feedback loops. Strong systems make average teams effective. Weak systems make strong teams frustrated. 5. Personal leadership systems, how you operate as the founder. Time management blocks, decision-making frameworks, weekly reviews, strategic planning rituals. If you lack personal systems, your empire inherits your chaos. The power of standardization. Standardization does not kill creativity, it protects excellence. When tasks are documented, training becomes faster, delegation becomes easier, quality becomes consistent, scaling becomes efficient. If something works, document it. If it's repeatable, systematize it. Automate and delegate.
There are only 3 ways to scale: work harder, work smarter, or let systems work for you. Automation tools, delegation structures, and clear SOPs allow you to focus on strategy, innovate, lead, instead of drowning in operations. The founder's trap. Many entrepreneurs become the bottleneck. Every decision requires their approval. Every task flows through them. Every issue lands on their desk. If your business cannot operate without you, you do not own an empire. You own a job. Scaling requires stepping into leadership, not control obsession. Infrastructure before expansion. Before expanding, strengthen processes, train leadership, clarify brand positioning, improve operational efficiency, build financial cushions. Speed without infrastructure leads to burnout. Infrastructure without speed leads to stagnation. Balance creates sustainable growth. Building for longevity. Ask yourself, can this operate without me daily? Are processes documented? Are results predictable? Can quality be maintained at double the volume? Sustainable growth is about predictability. If results are predictable, scaling becomes strategic, not risky. The scaling formula. Simplify operations, document processes, automate where possible, delegate responsibly, monitor performance metrics, optimize continuously. Systems are not static, they evolve as you grow. The empire mindset shift. At the beginning, you hustle. At the scaling stage, you design. Designing systems is what separates freelancers from founders, founders from CEOs, businesses from empires. Final principle. Systems create freedom. Freedom of time, freedom of focus, freedom of scale. Without systems, growth is fragile. With systems, growth is unstoppable. Chapter 19. Global Thinking. Taking your business beyond borders. Part 6. Expansion and Global Influence. An empire confined to one location is powerful. An empire that thinks globally is unstoppable. Once your systems are strong and your foundation stable, the next evolution is expansion beyond familiar territory. Global thinking is not just about geography, it is about mindset. It is about seeing opportunity where others see distance. It is about designing a business that transcends borders, cultures, and currencies. The shift from local to global. Local thinking asks, how do I dominate my immediate environment? Global thinking asks, how do I scale impact across markets? The difference is scope. When you shift to global thinking, you begin to ask, can this product serve other countries? Can this service operate digitally? Can this brand resonate across cultures? Can this system scale internationally? Your ambition expands beyond geography. Why global thinking matters. Market expansion. Larger audience, larger revenue potential. Risk diversification. Multiple markets reduce dependency. Brand authority. Global presence builds credibility. Currency and economic advantage. Leveraging stronger markets. Innovation exposure. Learning from global trends and competition. Global thinking multiplies leverage. The digital advantage. In today's world, borders are less limiting than ever. E-commerce platforms, digital services, online education, content creation, software and automation. A local entrepreneur can serve a global market from a laptop. Location is no longer limitation unless mindset is. Research before expansion. Global growth requires strategy, not impulse. Before entering new markets, study cultural differences, understand legal requirements, analyze currency fluctuations, assess local demand, evaluate competition. Expansion without research leads to costly mistakes. Cultural intelligence. Success in one region does not guarantee success elsewhere. Cultural intelligence means respecting local norms, adjusting messaging, adapting marketing strategies, understanding buying behavior. Global dominance requires flexibility without losing core identity. Systems that support global growth. To operate internationally, you need scalable digital infrastructure, strong logistics and supply chains, clear financial systems handling multiple currencies, reliable communication platforms, legal and compliance frameworks. Your systems must evolve with your reach. Strategic entry models. There are multiple ways to expand globally: exporting products, franchising, licensing, partnerships with local operators, remote service delivery, establishing foreign branches. Choose based on capital, risk tolerance, and long-term vision. Building a global brand. Global brands share common traits: clear identity, consistent messaging, adaptable marketing, strong storytelling, value-driven mission. A strong brand transcends language barriers. People connect to purpose more than geography. Leveraging global networks. Expansion becomes easier when you build international partnerships, cross-border mentors, global suppliers, digital communities. Relationships accelerate global positioning. Financial considerations. Operating globally introduces complexity: exchange rates, international taxation, payment processing systems, cross-border compliance. Financial intelligence becomes even more critical at this stage. The empire-level mindset. Global thinking requires long-term vision, boldness, strategic patience, calculated risk, cultural adaptability. You must move from survival thinking to scalability thinking, from local execution to international influence. Final reflection. Ask yourself, is my business model scalable globally? What systems need upgrading before expansion? Which markets align best with my product or service? Am I thinking too small? Empires are not built by accident. They are built by those who refuse to see borders as barriers. Once you think globally, your ceiling disappears. Chapter 20. Crisis Management and Resilience When Things Go Wrong. Part 6. Expansion, Stability, and Long-Term Survival. Every empire will face storms. Markets crash, partners betray, systems fail, cash flow tightens, reputation gets tested. Crisis is not a possibility, it is a certainty. The difference between a temporary business and a lasting empire is not the absence of crisis, it is the ability to endure it. The illusion of permanent stability. Success creates comfort. Comfort creates complacency. Complacency invites vulnerability. Many founders assume that growth means immunity. It does not. The higher you rise, the more visible you become. The more visible you become, the more exposed you are. Resilience is not optional at scale. It is structural. Understanding the nature of crisis. Crises appear in different forms. Number 1, financial crisis. Sudden revenue drop, rising operational costs, investor withdrawal, economic downturn. Number 2, operational crisis. Supply chain disruption, system breakdown, key employee departure. Number 3, reputation crisis. Public backlash, negative media, customer dissatisfaction. Number 4, leadership crisis, burnout, poor decision-making, internal conflict. A crisis tests not only your systems, but your character. The first rule, control your emotions. When things go wrong, panic is the first enemy. Fear clouds judgment. Ego escalates damage. Impulse worsens impact. Resilient leaders pause before reacting, assess facts objectively, separate emotion from strategy. Calm is a competitive advantage. The second rule, stabilize before solving. In a crisis, your first goal is not growth, it is stabilization. Protect cash flow, secure essential operations, communicate clearly with stakeholders, cut non-essential costs, stop the bleeding before rebuilding. The power of preparedness. Strong empires prepare for crisis before it arrives. This includes emergency financial reserves, diversified income streams, backup suppliers, crisis communication plans, delegated leadership structures. Preparation transforms chaos into challenge. Communication is critical. Silence during crisis breeds suspicion. Communicate with your team, your partners, your customers, your investors. Transparency builds trust. Trust protects reputation. People forgive mistakes. They rarely forgive dishonesty. Adaptation over attachment. One of the most dangerous behaviors in crisis is stubbornness. If a strategy fails, adapt. If a model becomes outdated, pivot. If a market shifts, reposition. Attachment to old methods can destroy new opportunities. Flexibility sustains survival. Leadership under pressure. True leadership reveals itself under stress. Ask yourself, can I remain composed when outcomes are uncertain? Can I make hard decisions quickly? Can I prioritize long-term survival over short-term ego? Your team mirrors your emotional state. If you project fear, they feel fear. If you project confidence, they gain stability. Turning crises into opportunity. Every crisis carries hidden opportunity. Weak competitors exit the market. New gaps emerge. Innovation accelerates. Efficiency improves. History shows that many empires were strengthened during downturns, not destroyed by them. Adversity refines the strong. Building personal resilience. Business resilience begins with personal resilience. Strengthen yourself through mental discipline, physical health, strategic thinking, emotional regulation, continuous learning. You cannot build a resilient empire if you are fragile internally. The recovery framework. After stabilization, analyze what caused the crisis, identify structural weaknesses, upgrade systems, reinforce financial buffers, rebuild trust intentionally, implement preventative measures. Every crisis should leave your empire stronger than before. The long game. Short-term setbacks do not define long-term destiny. Many entrepreneurs quit during the storm. Empires are built by those who stay. Resilience is not dramatic, it is disciplined persistence. Final reflection. Crisis will visit you. The question is not if, the question is when. And when it arrives, will you collapse or will you rise stronger than before? Empires are not measured by how high they rise, but by how well they endure. Conclusion. Your new beginning. You have reached the end of this book, but you are standing at the beginning of something far greater. This was never just about building a business. It was never just about money, systems, global expansion, or resilience. It was about you, the person who had to evolve to make all of this possible. The death of the old you. The old you believed you were limited by circumstances. You needed permission to rise. You had to wait for the perfect moment. Fear was a sign to stop. That version of you has served its purpose, and now it must be released. Because empires are not built by who you were, they are built by who you are willing to become. The emergence of the new you. The new you understands discipline beats motivation, systems beat chaos, vision beats comfort, resilience beats fear, action beats hesitation. The new you thinks bigger, moves smarter, endures longer, leads stronger. This transformation was never about becoming someone else. It was about becoming who you were always capable of being. The responsibility of growth. Growth is not comfortable. It requires sacrifice, courage, self-awareness, continuous learning, ruthless honesty. But growth also grants freedom, impact, influence, financial leverage, legacy. You cannot have one without the other. The empire within. Before there is a global empire, there must be an internal empire. Your mind must be disciplined. Your habits must be intentional. Your standards must be elevated. Your decisions must be strategic. Everything external mirrors your internal structure. If you remain structured inside, your empire will remain stable outside. The continuous evolution. There is no final level, no permanent arrival, no lasting comfort zone. Every milestone introduces new challenges. Every success introduces new responsibilities. Transformation is not a one-time event. It is a lifestyle. The moment you stop evolving, you begin declining. A final question. When you close this book, who will you choose to be? Will you return to comfort? Or will you step into expansion? Will you shrink back to safety? Or will you rise toward impact? The version of you that is waiting to be born is not waiting for permission. It is waiting for your decision. Your new beginning starts now, not tomorrow, not next month, not when conditions are perfect. Now. Take one bold step today. Implement one system. Make one courageous decision. Eliminate one limiting belief. Strengthen one habit. Small steps, repeated consistently, build empires. You have destroyed the old you. You have rebuilt yourself. You have learned to fund, scale, expand, and endure. Now go and build something that outlives you. Your new beginning is not ahead of you. It is already here. 30-Day Transformation Challenge. A structured blueprint for rebuilding yourself and your empire. Transformation does not happen by inspiration alone. It happens by execution. For the next 30 days, you will not wait for motivation. You will operate with structure. This challenge is divided into 4 phases: awareness, elimination, construction, expansion. Each phase builds on the last. Miss a day, reset. Discipline matters. Week 1, awareness, days 1 through 7. You cannot rebuild what you refuse to examine. Day 1, radical self-assessment. Write down your strengths, your weaknesses, your habits, your fears, your current financial reality. No filters, no excuses. Day 2, identify limiting beliefs. List 10 beliefs holding you back. For each one, write a stronger replacement belief. Day 3, audit your environment. Evaluate who you spend time with, what you consume online, Where you waste time, remove one negative influence immediately. Day 4, financial clarity. Track every expense, identify unnecessary spending, create a simple budget. Clarity reduces anxiety. Day 5, define core values. Choose 5 non-negotiable values. Examples: discipline, integrity, excellence, courage, growth. These will guide your decisions. Day 6, vision drafting. Write your 3-year vision: income target, lifestyle, health, relationships, business growth. Be specific. Day 7, silent reflection. Spend 30 minutes alone, no phone, no distractions. Ask, who must I become to achieve this vision? Week 2, elimination, days 8 through 14. What must die so the new you can live? Day 8, habit elimination. Choose one destructive habit. Stop it today. Day 9, time reclaiming. Eliminate unnecessary scrolling, low-value conversations, passive entertainment. Reclaim 1 to 2 productive hours. Day 10, declutter. Clean workspace, phone, digital files, email inbox. Order externally creates clarity internally. Day 11, tough conversation. Address something you've been avoiding. Courage builds momentum. Day 12, health reset. 30 minutes exercise, increase water intake, reduce sugar. Energy fuels execution. Day 13, forgiveness day. Release resentment, write it down, let it go. Carrying emotional weight slows growth. Day 14, burn the bridge. Commit publicly or privately to your new standard. No returning to old excuses. Week 3, construction. Days 15 through 21. Now we build. Day 15, morning routine design. Create a simple ritual. Wake up time, exercise, planning session, focus block. Consistency beats complexity. Day 16, skill development. Choose one high-income skill. Study and practice for 60 minutes. Day 17, system creation. Build one system: budget tracking, content creation schedule, client follow-up process, workout schedule. Structure equals freedom. Day 18, network upgrade. Reach out to someone who inspires you. Start intentional networking. Day 19, revenue strategy. Write 3 ways to increase income: upsell, new offer, new audience, digital expansion. Choose one to act on. Day 20, deep work day. 3 hours uninterrupted focus on one major goal. No multitasking. Day 21, weekly review. Evaluate wins, failures, adjustments needed. Optimization begins now. Week 4, expansion. Days 22 through 30. Think bigger, operate higher. Day 22, global thinking. Research one new market or opportunity outside your current circle. Day 23, financial buffer plan. Create a savings or emergency fund strategy. Resilience requires preparation. Day 24, leadership audit. Ask, am I decisive? Do I communicate clearly? Do I lead by example? Improve one area immediately. Day 25, brand elevation. Upgrade something visible: social media presence, website, personal appearance, business pitch. Perception influences opportunity. Day 26, strategic risk. Take one calculated risk, launch something, apply for opportunity, pitch a partnership. Growth requires boldness. Day 27, teach what you've learned. Share your journey with someone else. Leadership begins with influence. Day 28, Resilience drill. Prepare a worst-case scenario plan. What would you do if revenue stopped tomorrow? Think strategically. Day 29, future mapping. Outline your next 90-day goals. Break them into measurable actions. Day 30, declaration day. Write a declaration statement. Who you are now, what you stand for, what you will no longer tolerate, what empire you are building. Read it aloud. Commit. Final instruction. Do not complete this challenge casually. Track it. Journal it. Measure it. Transformation is not emotional, it is behavioral. 30 days from now, you will not be perfect, but you will be dangerous to mediocrity. Your empire begins with discipline. Now, execute. Thank you for watching. See you at the next post.